Hi, my name's Di and welcome to the very first You Are Special video series, Keeping It Real. The idea for the series began a couple of weeks ago. I was speaking at a conference in Noosa for the amazing Secrets retail jewellery brand. If you don't know them, check them out. They help every girl feel entirely gorgeous and we all deserve more of that. Anyway, after the presentation, a number of people came up to me and said, Di, do you have this information we could share, take back and share with our staff in staff meetings or perhaps with our significant others? I spoke that day on customer service, on relationships and self-development. I didn't have anything available for them, and so the idea really was born, although it scared me, so I kind of put it in the back of my mind. And then on the plane trip home, quite coincidentally, I had the great fortune to sit next to Jane and Joanne from the Victorian retail stores, and those girls really inspired me to feel the fear and do it anyway. My first thoughts that came up, and I said to them, I don't think I could speak in front of a camera and do this stuff. I'm used to presenting to people and I get feedback from people when I present, and I can speak to 100 people or 1,000 people or 10 people and I get feedback. I don't know that I could do it in front of a camera, but those girls inspired me, so hence the series. They are my customers, and part of being in business is about listening to what your customers want and where you can, giving them what they want. So this is really part of that. I thought about what will I speak on, and I decided I'll speak on what I present on and have been presenting on for a number of years. And that is about customer service, it's about self-development, it's about building relationships, it's about leadership, it's about being the best self that we can be, not about being better than anybody else. You Are Special really was born to be about being the best person that we can be, and then we're much better everything: wife, sister, brother, husband, father, employee, boss, everything. So that's really what it's about. It's also about keeping it very real. There's a lot of motivational speakers out there. They're very much filled with rah-rah. They'll talk about, every day you wake up is a great day. Yeehaw. Well, I don't feel like every day I wake up is a great day. It sure beats the alternative, but sometimes I just want to get back under my doona and bury my head. Some days I cry a lot. Some days I have problems like everybody else. Some days life doesn't go the way that I would like it to go. That's very real. That's called life. Most people have problems in their life, and it's about us finding ways, solutions, and finding ways to get through those really difficult times. It's also about implementing what it is that we know. And some people know a lot. They go to all the seminars, they read all the books, they listen to all the tapes. They're very knowledgeable on what we need to do, but they're not necessarily always doing it. You Are Special is really about inspiring you to go out and do things differently, to make changes in your life, to be better at whatever it is you're doing, whether that's about customer service, whether that's about relationships, business, whatever it might be. But it's about doing things differently. So that's what really began. I hope that you enjoy the series. We'll upload some new things every couple of weeks on a whole variety of subjects. I'd love to hear what you think about them. Perhaps you might like me to speak on something. If I know anything about it, I'm happy to chat about it and give you my ideas on what's worked for me. And really that's what I do. I share what works for me in my life, and maybe it might help you in your life in some area. So thank you again for the faith in this. And so I thought what I'd talk about the first series would be today would be on stretching comfort zones, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. This is really scary for me, speaking in front of this camera. And what happens when we even think about doing this, and even last week when I was planning, was I get all this feedback in my body, and it's really quite negative. It's the self-talk is negative, the feedback is feedback, and the feedback goes something like butterflies, needing to go to the toilet, feeling really sick, heart palpitations, not being able to think. And the self-talk that goes along with it is don't be silly, what will people think? People will laugh at you, people will judge you. This is going out in the World Wide Web, which is fabulous and scary at the same time. And so all of that feedback comes up. Years ago I was doing, and as it does with any goal, I've got to say, any goal that we set for ourselves, when we set a goal about perhaps getting a new job, about going on holiday, about meeting a new group of people, about forming a relationship with someone. We'll often get feedback in our body. And many years ago, I was speaking to community groups, a number of them in the Victorian regional areas, and somebody asked me to come along and give the same presentation to a business group that I'd been giving. And so I went along, and I remember turning up to the big city office, and there was a couple of hundred people in the audience, and I was so scared. And immediately my self-talk went, who do you think you are? You're not good enough. I was listening to some of the other speakers who were really professional and seemed to really know what they were talking about. I thought, what are you doing here, Di? Nobody will like what you've got to say. People probably won't listen to you. People know that you're a fraud. All of that kind of thing really went through my head. What's wrong with you? People will laugh at you. Why are you here? You're not good enough, basically. The feedback in my body was telling me I thought that I wasn't good enough. And so I went along, did the presentation anyway, got through it, and it wasn't the best presentation I'd ever given. Probably wasn't the worst either. I do recall some people coming up and thanking me and saying that they'd really got a lot out of it. And then I went away and I was doing some work with a man in my own life, a mentor of mine called Michael Carroll. Michael shared with me that the feedback I was getting was no different to the feedback I get when I'm excited. And so that feedback of not being able to sleep, of feeling a little sick, of maybe needing to go to the toilet, of heart palpitations, was very similar to the feedback I had shared with him that I'd gotten from my body the week before. And so Michael said to me, when you get that feedback, don't put that down to the fact you're not good enough, Di. Put that down to the fact that this is feedback because you're out of your comfort zone. Major revelation to me. I'd never even really heard those terms before. And ever since, I've been using that for well over 20 years now. And I've been using those strategies and they've worked for me. So I guess my idea of sharing that with you is to say perhaps there's something you want to do or you've even been thinking about doing. You don't even have to do it yet. And you get some of that feedback in your body. Don't ever put that down to the fact that you're not good enough. Often it's got nothing to do with that. And simply it's feedback in your body. I still get nervous when I speak at an event, and I speak at hundreds or thousands of them every year, and I still get nervous before, and it is feedback, and now I've learned to flick that switch and tell myself, this is feedback, Di, because you're out of your comfort zone, that's all it is. So I hope that has inspired you to perhaps go and search or look at or think about extending your comfort zone and achieving some goal that you may have wanted to do. We'll do more on goal setting a little later. Thank you for joining me on the first of this series. The next ones will be a little shorter, I promise. And I'd love to hear your feedback. Make it kind. And please share it around if you think it's worthwhile. Have a great day and remember how special and how fabulous and how worthy you are. Bye.